I want to begin, first of all, by saying it's a pleasure and an honor to be here with each and every one of you today. I want to commend you for coming out to a leadership conference, not only to build yourself up, but ultimately to evolve as a leader. I believe that if we're going to see our country, our community, our campuses, and our nation become a better place, we're going to need effective leaders. Someone say, oh yeah. And so because of that, I commend you on coming out today, and I want to honor you and appreciate you. So give yourselves a round of applause for showing up here today. So fantastic. Second thing I want to do, and I think is really important, that we always remember not only to honor people, but to appreciate those that go out of their way to make our lives better. I often tell people that sometimes we don't appreciate people enough, and I believe that appreciation is important. As a matter of fact, Mother Teresa said, there's more hunger in the world for appreciation and love than there is for bread to eat, meaning people desire appreciation, people desire to be loved, and people feel good when they're appreciated and loved. So can we appreciate the leadership team that put on this wonderful event and give them a big round of applause for all the work that they put in to put this together? Two things I'm going to do before I get started. I think I have about an hour and 10 minutes, so I'm going to get ready to get started. But the first thing I want to ask, how many of you listen to music? Anybody listen to music when they study? Okay, awesome. I listen to music when I study. I actually wish I could sing, because if I could, I would start singing right now and then go into my presentation. I think it'd be kind of awesome, but I cannot sing. But one of the things I did about 5 to 7 years ago is I created what I call an instrumental. I have a keyboard player back in Los Angeles. Went into his studio and he made magic. And so I have music that plays underneath me while I talk. It's something unique about me because of my love for music. I think it's awesome because it brings an ambiance to the room. I just love music. And so I have that. So when the music comes on, you'll be aware of it. Sound good? Awesome. So real quick, if you can find someone in the room that you do not know, I want you to point to them and tell them you are awesome. All right. Now, I want you to find another person in the room. I want you to point to them and let them know you look absolutely incredible today. Just remind them. And then real quick, if you can repeat after me, someone say, today is a great day. I will grow, I will evolve, and most importantly, I will have fun learning. I believe everyone in the room is destined to make an impact in their community, their nation, and their world as a leader. If you agree, someone say, oh yeah. Give yourself a round of applause. Awesome. So let's get it. I want to ask a question. How many of you would consider yourself leaders in the room? Raise your hand. Okay, awesome. How many of you believe you are destined to make an impact in the world as a leader? Raise your hand. Okay. How many of you believe that you're a great leader? Raise your hand. Okay, y'all, I don't know. I don't want to be aired. The reason I asked you that question is because it was about 10 years ago when I was graduated from my undergraduate degree and I was pursuing a master's degree in organizational leadership. And at the time, I thought that I knew everything there was to be about leadership. I felt that I knew what it meant to be a leader. I felt that I was a great leader. I felt that I did a good job as a leader because throughout my entire life, number one, when I was in high school, I was the captain of our basketball team. And I was the top scorer. I was the leader of the team. I was in newspaper articles. I won all kinds of awards. So I was like, I know what leadership is about. And then when I went to school, I got into college at Long Beach State University, and I got involved with a variety of organizations. I was the president of an organization. I started an NAACP chapter on our campus. I started the first ever talk show on our campus. And so I was ingrained with leadership. And at that point, I just felt like I was a great leader. I felt I knew everything there was to know about leadership. And then reality hit. The reason reality hit is because I graduated and I began to pursue my degree in organizational leadership at Biola University. And as I was pursuing my degree, I learned two things. Number one, I didn't know too much about leadership. And number two, I was extremely upset. And the reason I was upset is because I realized if I knew what I knew in what I learned in my master's program, I would have been that much more effective as a leader when I was in college. It was at that point that I looked back over my life, I reflected, I went through the exercises, I learned about different theories, I learned about different perspectives, I learned about different experiences, I began to develop what I call a definition of leadership, and I was extremely upset because I said, man, if I would have known what I know now, I would be so much further as a leader. I think this is true in life. Has anybody ever looked back and said, I wish I knew this like 3 years ago? Anybody know what I'm talking about? Like if I would have known this like 3 years ago, I would be more advanced. I would have missed that mistake. I would have missed that failure. I would have missed that bad relationship. I mean, I was just upset. But I was excited as well because I began to grow in leadership. I began to develop a deeper understanding about leadership. And I began to understand that not only was I kind of ignorant when it came to leadership, but I discovered there's a lot of people that have a lack of understanding in leadership as well. And because of their lack of understanding as it relates to leadership, we have people that are not reaching their fullest capacity of leadership due to their lack of understanding. I found that some people don't even think they're a leader because they really don't know what a leader is. I also found there's some people that we look over or that put people in leadership positions that actually don't have the capacity to lead because we don't have the proper perspective when it comes to leadership. See, sometimes we put people in power because they have the most Instagram followers, or maybe they have the most money, or maybe they have status, or maybe they have power. But in reality, you can have all of that but still not be an effective leader. It's a whole other discussion for another day. And I think it's a crisis in our country because so many times we just put people in leadership positions based on their success and their influence and their popularity, not understanding that that does not make you an effective leader. It takes more than that. It's one of the reasons I love this quote by Vince Lombardi, and he says, and I quote, he says, leaders aren't born, they are made. He goes on to say, and they are made just like anything else through hard work. And that's the price you will pay to achieve that goal, any goal. And what I like about this quote is he lets us know, number one, leaders aren't born. And that's the discussion in itself when it comes to leadership. He says they're made. In essence, what that means is no matter who you are, no matter what walk of life you come from, you have the ability to develop the skill sets necessary in order to lead. That means in this room today, despite where you were born, despite where you came from, despite your experiences, despite the challenges you have faced in your life, you still have the capacity and the ability to learn the proper leadership skills, characteristics, and traits in order to truly make an impact in the world. It also lets us know that if we're going to be great, if we're going to be effective, if we're truly going to do something incredible as a leader of the 21st century, we got to be taught. Someone say taught. We got to be educated. We have to be empowered. And it's one of the reasons I'm so excited to be here today is because over these next 45 to 50 minutes, I'm going to do something. I'm going to present to you 4 questions. Someone say 4 questions. I'm going to present to you 4 questions. I'm going to not only redefine leadership, but I'm going to provide you with 4 questions that will not only eradicate some myths as it relates to leadership, but it's going to empower you with some insight, with some knowledge, so that you can understand not only what a leader is, but ultimately I hope that you'll be inspired to go out there and make an impact in your community, your nation, and your world. In essence, when you walk out of here today, we're going to have a clear understanding of what leadership is. We're going to eradicate some myth as it relates to leadership. And then number 2, we're going to empower you with some truths that are going to help you when you walk out of here today, not only know what a leader is, but ultimately understand what qualities, what characteristics you must possess in order to truly make an impact in the world as a leader. Someone say, redefine. Leadership. Give someone a high five and say, number 1. First question, so we're redefining leadership. So what is the first question? The first question is pretty obvious. What is leadership? If we're going to redefine leadership, the first thing we have to do is define what is the redefinition of leadership. And this is important because definitions of words hold power. Because the definition of a word determines our understanding of a word and how we actually apply that word in our lives. In essence, when I define a word, not only does it help me get a greater understanding of the word, but it also helps me know what to do with the word in order to apply it into my life. It's kind of like a pen. Someone say a pen. When you see a pen, we have a definition of what a pen is. And based on our definition of the pen, it creates an understanding, it creates dialogue, and ultimately it enables us to apply the pen to what we do in life based on our definition and understanding of what the word is. Make sense? The same is true with leadership. In order to truly understand leadership And to apply the concept of leadership effectively, we got to have a definition and an understanding so that we understand not only what it is, but we understand how to apply the definition of the word in our lives. And so this is the question that has went on for so many years, because so many people have been trying to figure out what is the definition of leadership. I mean, you go back to the in 1930, then you go to 1940, 50, 60 to 70 to 2000. There's always been this growth in what is leadership and this growth in what does it mean to be a leader? What does that look like? And it's one of the reasons why Bass, he's a familiar scholar as it relates to leadership. For those that are familiar with transformational leadership, you'll see his writings a lot in that space. He was part of the individuals that really begin to create some content or some definitions of what it meant to be a transformational leader. And he says there are almost as many different definitions of leaders as people who have tried to describe what it means to be a leader. In essence, everyone has a definition of leadership. If you go Google what is leadership, you will get all kinds of different descriptions, definitions, traits, and a variety of other things as it relates to leadership. Based on your experience, based on where you're from. So the question now becomes, Josh, there's all these definitions, there's all these perspectives as it relates to leadership, but I want to know, how would you define leadership? And I'm glad you asked, because I've studied leadership since I was 25 years of age. I've been involved with leadership since I was 17 years of age. I am now 39, so you do the math. And I've been doing this thing for a long time, and I've come to this definition of leadership, and it's really the best one that I've come to. It's by Northhouse, and he says leadership is an ability to influence. Someone say influence. It's to inspire. It's to motivate. It's to persuade. Now, that's not it. Others to a certain destination to make a positive impact in the world. So when I deal with leadership, it's threefold. Someone say threefold. Number one, you got to influence. You got to influence someone. There's people that say if you don't have no followers, you're not a leader. Absolutely correct. You got to inspire. You got to motivate. You got to persuade. But you also have to have a vision. Someone say vision. Got to have a destination. Where are you going? How can you lead if you have no idea what you're leading me to? So you got to have a vision, and then you got to want to make an impact. Someone say impact. I use the word impact because I believe that effective leaders make an impact. Effective leaders impact people's lives. Effective leaders make organizations better. They make a nation better. They make a community better. When a true leader comes on the scene or emerges on a campus, emerges in a nation, emerges in another country, emerges amongst some people, they make things better. That's why leadership is so important, because it takes leadership to make things better. And I could give you so many examples, but I want to really relate it to an area of leadership that we don't always look to as it relates to leadership, and I want to relate it to the mother-daughter experience. See, I have a friend, and this is Tametria Jones, and me and Tametria have known each other for literally about 21 years. And we have a really good relationship because when I was a sophomore in school and she was a freshman, she came to my room one day and she was bawling in tears. And I was like, well, why are you crying? And I was at that point really sick. And I was watching Coming to America. I don't know if there are any Coming to America fans, but I'm watching the movie and I feel like I'm on my deathbed, but she comes in there, she's crying. I'm like, well, what's wrong? And with tears in her eyes, she said, I just got pregnant. And I said, okay, people get pregnant all the time. No, she said, no, you don't understand. I didn't plan on having kids right now. I plan on graduating. I plan on getting married. Plan on having some stability. And then I was going to have kids, but not right now. And she's bawling because she's not only tripping of her experience, but she's freaking out on how her parents are going to respond to her. Because I'm sure her parents didn't expect her to go to school and to get pregnant in the first semester of college. So she's there in my room, she's bawling, and she has tears, and I begin to encourage her, and I begin to empower her and say, it's going to be all right, you'll be okay. I promise you, people that face worse and they have overcome, you will overcome. Someone say, oh yeah. And with tears in her eyes, I empower her and I encourage her, and she walks out my room not knowing what to expect. But I share with you that after 5 years, her daughter began to grow into a beautiful young girl. She graduated with a degree in accounting. She went on to get a job. She now has a house. Her daughter is getting ready to graduate. And her success story is incredible because she was able to overcome a challenge that she thought she was unable to overcome. And I think that's kind of awesome because when you can go to school and face all the challenges and all the naysayers and defy the odds and still overcome, that's pretty awesome. And I was excited about that. But as it relates to leadership, I was even more excited because what she did is she inspired her daughter. She encouraged her daughter. She empowered her daughter to ultimately succeed in life. And today her daughter is getting ready to graduate high school. Her daughter is doing well in school. Her daughter is doing amazing because my friend Demetria was able to apply the concept of leadership into her family, which ultimately evolved into a positive impact. You say, well, what do you mean? Her vision was for her daughter to succeed. She had to influence her by inspiring her and motivating her and encouraging her and challenging her and correcting her and keeping her accountable. And the impact is that her daughter, despite the challenges, has succeeded. Someone say leadership. This is what leadership is about. Leadership is about influencing people to a certain destination in order to make an impact. So if I'm going to be a leader, I got to have a desire to make an impact. Someone say impact. I got to have a vision. Someone say vision, which is a clear, concise, compelling picture, Instagram photo of your future. And then number two, someone say influence. And this is really where it gets challenging because people are different. People are unique. And it requires you to do different leadership skill sets in order to inspire or to move people to a certain destination. And that's where the skill set really begins to kick in because you got to not only learn how to deal with people, you got to learn how to inspire, how to influence, and how to get people to the place where you see the best for them as a leader. The first question we got to ask yourself is, what is? And we define it as an ability to influence people to a certain destination and make an impact. Give someone a high five. Say number two. Now here's the next question. The next question is, do I need a leadership title or position to lead? Oh, there it is. No, you don't. Well, give them a round of applause. Whoever said that, you got it correct. You don't need a title or a position in order to be a leader. And this is an evolving concept when it deals with leadership, because if you go back to the early 1900s or even mid 1900s, we assume that you're only a leader based on your position or your title. But as we've dig deeper into this concept of leadership, we've discovered that leadership is not based on your title or your position. Leadership is based on your behavior. It's based on the impact that you make on other people. It's going to get good. Oh, it's good. In essence, you don't have to be the president to be a leader. You don't have to be the CEO to be a leader. You don't have to have the accolades that come with position or status to be a leader. Because leadership is not determined by the title or the status. Leadership is determined by the work. Someone say the work. It's the work. It's the impact. It's the service. It's the inspiration. It's the behavior. This is where leadership is defined. And this is a game changer because there are people that will say, I don't see myself as a leader because I'm not the president of an organization. There are people that say, I don't see myself as a leader because I'm not the CEO of a company. There are people that will say, I don't see myself as a leader because I don't have the title that is considered to be a leader. But in reality, that's not the case. As a matter of fact, can I go a step deeper? I would rather you do the work before you get the title. I would rather you do the work of a leader before I give you the title. The title should be a confirmation to what you already are. Well, that's good. See, so many times we give the title before the behavior matches the title. Uh-oh, I done got some stuff right now, huh? That's what we do in our society. Oh, I like them, so I'm going to put them in office. Oh, they're so awesome. They're just great. Well, do they have the behavior to match the title? Because if they don't have the behavior to match the title, what you do is you put someone in leadership and they become ineffective because we gave them the title before they had the behavior that gives the credibility for the position. And this is where we made a mistake when it comes to leadership. We're putting people there because we like them versus putting them there based on their behavior, based on their character, and based on the work that they're able to get done. Are you still here? And this is why I got to redefine what leadership is. Because when we redefine what leadership is, not only from a leadership perspective, but from a society perspective, not only do we see the leader within us, but now we start to make better decisions as to who we decide to be the leader of different organizations and a variety of other things. Y'all still here? That's good YouTube right there. And it's why I love this quote by Robin Sherman. Watch what he says. He says, leadership is no longer about position. Love that. He says it's now more about your passion for excellence and making a difference. You can lead without a title. Oh, I love it. So it's more about your passion. Someone say passion. What are you passionate about? What do you want to change? What do you want to make an impact? You know, change doesn't start when everything's in place. Change starts when you make up in your mind, I'm going to start moving and resources start coming. Oh, I feel something right now. I want to say this real quick. The change doesn't happen when everything is right. The change happens when you start to move. I want you to think about this for a moment. Every dream or movement that has been great never manifested because everything was right when the person started. Most started when they really had no idea how it was going to materialize. They just started moving. They just started acting. They just started doing. And so what I'm sharing with you today is just because you don't have the title, the position, or sometimes the resources doesn't mean you can't start leading and creating that which is in you right now. Because it starts when you move, and as you move, the resources come. The ideas come. There's failure. There's rejection. But as you move, it starts materializing, and then what happens is you look up one day and like, oh, how did I get here? You got here by making a decision. I'm going to start acting today, and I'm not going to wait till everything is comfortable and everything is good. Y'all still here? Yep. It's passion. It's making a difference. It's making a difference. So he said leader's about making a difference. If you're making an impact, you're making a difference. You're a leader. So when you inspire someone in your apartment or your dorm room, you're leading. When you go out there and serve and help those that are in need, you're leading. When you put a smile on someone's face, you're leading. When someone is bawling in tears, oh, I know what I'm going to do, and you bring them out of it and they become rejuvenated, you're leading. When you are setting an example for others without a title, you're leading. In essence, your leadership is not based on the title. Your leadership is based on your behavior, is based on your characteristics, it's based on what you do. And I'm gonna prove it to you. Can I get 4 volunteers? Can I get 4 volunteers? One, stand up, stand up, stand up, stand up. Stay right where you are. I'll let you stay right where you are. I'm gonna give you some time. So I'm gonna ask you a question. Are you ready? So I'm going to start here. And this is a question. I want you to tell me who has been the most impactful leader in your life? The most impactful leader in your life. Play the music. Oh, thank you. Are you ready? Let's start with you. Most impactful leader. Why?
She was like literally that story that you just told about that woman. That was literally my mom. And so she went on, she has her PhD and like raised me all by herself. With getting pregnant with me at 16. And now I'm in college and doing stuff like this. 10 out of 10 leaders.
Wow. What does she do that really affect, like, what are some characteristics that she did? Oh, okay. So she laid the law down. Okay.
Believers and like corrective activity.
Okay. So she laid the law down.
Yeah.
She kept you accountable.
Exactly, yes.
Okay. Can you get a round of applause? Awesome. What about you? What's your name?
My name is Rafet.
Rafet. Okay, awesome. Who was your leader?
Miss Diaz. In elementary school, she was my counselor. I don't.
Your counselor, okay. Ms. Diaz, okay. Why was she? Why?
I was a frustrated ADHD kid who didn't have a lot of friends, and I don't remember a lot about that time, but she was more or less the only person there.
Okay.
Besides, like, my family, but I didn't want to explain to them
Right.
at the time. So she was that helpful alternative.
So she cared about you.
Yes.
She listened to you. She was empathetic. She obviously inspired you. She encouraged you. Awesome. Give a round of applause. Going somewhere. You, yes. What is your name? Nick. Awesome. Nick, who is your leader?
I'm going to say my family because it takes a village because they instilled within me just the core fundamental sense of values and behaviors, and also predominantly a very strong discipline to push through my challenges, push through my struggles and weaknesses to grow to what I've become and what I'm going to become.
What is the greatest lesson they taught you? Or one of the greatest lessons? That's probably a tough one.
One of them is probably just be selfless all the time. Do the right thing, plans and done.
Awesome. Give a round of applause. Awesome. What about you?
Mine is my sister.
Okay.
My parents got divorced when I was really young, and my mom was a ER nurse.
Uh-huh.
So my sister was like 10 years old when she like basically raised me with my mom.
Wow.
And so she's like amazing. She's such a great leader. She's in grad school now and still like calls me every day.
What was the greatest quality that she taught you, or one of the greatest qualities?
I have a problem with like letting people run all over me. So like, especially like when she like moved to college and meet new people, my sister like really like told me to like have a backbone, and she literally called me and just play no crap, and she'd be like, "You need to grow up."
Wow.
Don't play.
Wow.
So,
She said play around.
yeah.
Awesome. Give a round of applause. Now, the reason I wanted you to hear the different examples in the room is because if you notice, they talked about people that not necessarily were CEOs, not were principals, not were politicians, not were elected officials, not were board of directors. These were people that did not have a necessary position or title, but they were leaders. Someone say leaders. And they were leaders because of their behavior, because of their compassion, because of their empathy, because they kept these individuals accountable. And the reason I did that is because I travel all over the country, and I always do this exercise. And the reason why is because I want people to see that the title is never the determining factor of effective leadership. It's always the attributes. It's always the compassion. It's always the caring. It's always the empathy. It's always being there to listen. It's always being there to inspire. It's always being there to encourage and to motivate. And I think this is really eye-opening when we develop leadership, because what it lets us know is number one, arrogance and narcissism is whack leadership. But compassion, empathy, respect, listening, empowerment, and service is great leadership. And at the end of the day, the leadership that gets results and that truly makes an impact, not for the individual, but for the collective community, are the individuals that understand it's not about me, it's about others, and it's about using the good deeds that are within us as humans to empower others to become better. That's what leadership is about. And so the reason this is so important is because instead of telling people, get the position, get the title, let's first deal with the behavior. Let's first deal with the character. Let's first deal with the characteristics and the traits, because if you have that, leadership will come automatically. So you get the behavior, you get the traits, you get the qualities, leadership will come automatically. Because I love what a speaker says. He says success leaves clues. This is good. But I suggest that effective leadership leaves clues. Character, accountability, caring, inspiring, service, respect. Someone say clues. And when people see those type of characteristics, if they truly understand what it means to be an effective leader, those are the people I want. Can I go a little step farther? I've come to find out that sometimes No, all the time. It's more beneficial to have a high character person than a gifted person. Because a gifted person can be gifted, but it cause you all kinds of stress because they have no character. A character person may not be as gifted, but you can teach them, you can build them, and ultimately get them to a place where they can be just as effective as a gifted person. Because the gifted person is gifted, but if they lack character, they will disqualify themselves within 1 year. And it's one of the reasons why one speaker says this. He says your gift will get you to the top, but if you don't have the character, you will lose your position. So second thing we got to understand is leadership is not a title or a position. It's about impact. Someone say impact. So when you walk out of here today, if you made an impact at any level, you're a leader. If you've inspired people, you're a leader. If you're that person that's an introvert and you don't never say nothing and you don't have charisma, but you have people calling you and you're counseling and you're listening and you're helping, guess what? You have the attributes of what? Of a leader. Give someone a high five. Say number three. Three. Third question. This is going to be good. Does money, power, or fame qualify you to be a leader? Does money, power, or fame qualify you to be a leader? Yes or no? It doesn't. Now, this is a really interesting question. And the reason why it's an interesting question, is because so many times I have found that we promote people to leadership based on their influence as an entertainer. An entertainer will have the most Instagram followers, an entertainer will be extremely gifted, will draw people with their gifts, and will automatically say, you're our leader. Hold up. If we assume that leadership is just influence, then we can say they're a leader. But leadership is influence to a certain destination to make an impact. So I can't put you in a leadership position, number one, if you don't have a vision for the betterment of the people you're trying to lead. This is important. Because what can happen is we put people in power because of your fame and because of your notoriety, but we haven't asked the question, where's your heart? Do you really care about people? Do you really want to make an impact? Do you have a vision for the well-being of a collective people? Or is it more about you making more money, you being great, you having more influence, you having more power? Because if it's about their power and their own agenda and not the people, you're going to have a lot of upset, irritated, and frustrated folks. Because no one wants to be led by someone that is more concerned about themselves than the people. Would you agree with that? It's why Ken Blanchard, he's a leadership legend, he says this. He says humility is when a leader is more focused on the task and the people than themselves. I'm more focused on the task and the people than myself. In essence, it's not about me, it's about getting the job done, work, and it's about impacting people. So obviously you're right. Money, power, fame does not qualify you as a leader. This is good news. It's good news, number one, because it lets me know that although I don't have a lot of money, although I don't have a lot of fame, although I don't have power, I don't have status, I don't have a lot of Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat, whatever you want to call it, I don't have a lot of followers, that doesn't mean you're not a leader. Well, I only know like 5 people. Doesn't mean you're not a leader. Because it's not about that. It's about the work. Someone say the work. Number 2, what it lets me know is it helps me to not see myself as a leader. What I mean by that is if I think that I need money, power, and fame to be a leader, and if I don't have that, I automatically disqualify myself from being a leader. Because if I assume, well, you got to be heroic, and you got to have this great movement, and you got to be like Dr. King, and you got to be like Gandhi, and you got to be like Mother Teresa, and you got to be like Cesar Chavez, and you got to be like Winston Churchill, that is a leader. If we create this heroic picture of leadership, but forget about the everyday leader, the leader that is leading the family, the leader that's leading the community, the leader that's leading on the school, the leader that may be trying to figure out how I'm going to pay my bills from month to month, if we create that picture of leadership and we say you can't lead from another place without those three things, then what we are doing is we're disqualifying people that may have potential to be incredible leaders. And that's what we do so much. We look over people because they don't have the money, the power, or the fame. Happens all the time. Based on your success, you're a great leader. I don't know. Because success individually is different from leadership success. You can be successful as a singer, but are you successful as a leader? Not today, Josh. You can be successful as an athlete, but are you successful as a leader? You can be an incredible salesperson, but are you successful as a leader? I know a lot of successful people that are horrible leaders. Some of you have probably met them. Anybody had a bad boss? Oh, I know, hands are up. That bad boss is in a position of leadership, maybe because they do their job well, but they're a horrible leader. They don't know how to treat people. They don't know how to respect people. They don't inspire you. They don't move you. They have no vision. They have no understanding of what it means to lead, and we're throwing them into a leadership position because they're good, but they have no leadership ability. And unfortunately, you got to bear the frustration of them being put in a leadership position based on their gift with no actual leadership training. Can I go a little step farther? It gets scarier. You know why? Because what happens is when we have this perspective, we start putting people in leadership positions based on their success, based on their gift, based on nepotism. And then we create this culture of ineffective leadership trying to say it's good leadership. Oh, you know, it's okay to talk bad about people. There's nothing wrong with that. Oh, it's okay to just look over people. That's okay. You know what? Sometimes you got to do what you got to do. It's the strongest. Sometimes you got to just cut them off. Sometimes you got to lie. You know, and again, I'm not saying this in this room, but if you go to certain arenas, I'm going high on y'all. Now it gets interesting. If you go to certain arenas, these are some of the ways in which people operate as leaders. People go into backstab. People are willing to jump over people in order to get that position or that title. People are willing to disregard people in order to get that position of power. People are willing to be about one issue but not another issue for that position of power. Are you still here? I know, I can go there. That'll go on to the discussion. But it's why I love this quote. It says, wealth, notoriety, place, and power are no measures of success whatsoever. Ooh, success. The only true measure of success is the ratio between what we might have been and what we might have become. I love this quote because it lets us know that your success is not based on wealth, notoriety, or power. Success is based on you becoming all that you were supposed to become. It's about you reaching your fullest potential. See, leadership is not about how many followers you have. Leadership is not about having the biggest business. Leadership is not always about being the best because there's always going to be someone better than you. I know that's hard. That's a hard one right there. I know it's hard. I know it's a hard one to swallow. But someone's always going to be better than you. When you get in a relationship, someone's always going to be better than that person in the relationship. There's always going to be someone better. There's always. The question is, are you becoming the best you that you can become? Are you becoming the best leader you can become? Are you becoming the best individual that you can become? And watch this. Do you have a peace about what you do? This is so off, but it's so important. I was at HBO in September, and we had a conversation about success. And we talked about what is success. And we came to the understanding that success, number one, is about peace. Do you have peace? Because you can have all the money in the world and be stressed out and be freaked out and just life is not good. Anybody know what I'm talking about? See it on television, see it all the time. Success is about fulfillment. Everyone's not going to be a multimillionaire. Everyone's not going to be a CEO, but everyone can reach their fullest potential and fulfill their purpose in life. Are you fulfilling your purpose? And then number 3, I think was pretty good, and I love this. One of a former executive from Citibank said, and I quote, she said, it's about making sure the fire stays lit. I love that. The fire's lit. The passion's excited. When I wake up in the morning, I'm excited. They just lollipop. You're going to figure that one out. I'm excited in the morning. So this is what success is about. And you're saying, well, what's the lollipop? What does that have to do with leadership? Well, if you go on YouTube, you'll recognize a video, a TED Talk. It was called Everyday Leadership. Anybody saw the video? And you know about everyday leadership, and this guy gets up there and he starts talking, and he has a moment with a lollipop, but really what he really says is that he had thought that leadership was heroic, but came to realize that leadership is manifested every day. And he realized through this lollipop moment that leadership can be in the smallest of relationships, can be in the interactions. Every day we have the opportunity to lead. And I think this is important because, you know, we think that, man, I got to have this, I got to have that. No, you have the opportunity to lead today. And we need you to lead. And we need you to serve. And we need you to inspire. And we need you to motivate. And we need you to help. And we need you to be the best you that you can become. And we need you to have passion. We need you to be excited. Because people are depending upon you to be the best leader you can be. So the third question that we understand is leadership is not about money, power, or fame. Again, leadership is about impact. It's about transformation. It's about making others' lives better. Someone say, oh yeah. Give someone a high five. Say number 4. Are y'all ready for number 4? Fourth question. What makes an effective leader? Someone say what? Makes an effective leader. Because I've told you what leadership is. I've told you what it's not. Now the question becomes, what makes an effective leader? So real quick in the room, if I can get 10 people, real quick, what do you believe makes an effective leader? Anybody want to share? What's an effective leader? Anybody who wants to? No hands? Oh, yes. What's it? Communication. Give her a round of applause. Communication. Awesome. Yes. Passion. Give her a round of applause. Awesome. Yes. Growth. Give her a round of applause. Awesome. Yes. Being selfless. Awesome. Give a round of applause. Awesome. Yes. Prudence. Give a round of applause. Awesome. Yes. Dependability. Yes. Confidence. Yes. Huh? Active listening. Yes. Give a round of applause. I got spot on. Humility. Yes. Give a round of applause. As you can see, there's several different characteristics when it comes to effective leadership. And again, you're going to learn about this throughout the conference, but I'm going to give you one of the things that I think is important when it comes to effective leadership. And that concept is discovering the greatness or the leader from within and using that to make an impact in other people's lives. When I look at effective leaders, number 1, they have an understanding of what their strength is. They know what their passion is. They're aware of their vision. They have a heart to help people, to serve people, to make an impact in people's lives. And they use that in order to make things better or to make an impact in the lives of others or the organization. Someone say effective leadership. That's what I've discovered. And this is important when it comes to leadership because what it lets me know is if I'm going to be an effective leader, I got to start uncovering, identifying the greatness that's on the inside. Someone say greatness. What is my gift? What are my values? Where's that love and where's that compassion and where's that empathy and what is that vision and what is that passion and what is that strength that's on the inside of me that needs to come out in order to make an impact? That's what I learned about effective leaders. I learned that effective leaders tapped into something on the inside and brought it out to help other people. So I realized there are people that'll go into a classroom and there'll be kids in need and they'll bring out the greatness inside of them to help the kids in need. I found out that there'll be people that will go to third world countries and help people that need help health-wise by doing what they can to bring out the greatness and galvanizing of others in order to make an impact. I've realized that there's people that battle challenges and obstacles, and there's people that bring out the greatness of motivation and inspiration to inspire and to transform the lives of people to move forward. In essence, I've discovered that one of the keys of effective leadership is being able to uncover that greatness on the inside and ultimately to make an impact. It's one of the reasons I love this quote by Miles Monroe. Watch this. He says, your value in life is determined by the problems. Someone say problems you solve through your gift. So my value as a leader can be determined by the problems I solve through my gift. What problem are you about to solve? What challenge are you about to overcome? That's what leaders do. But they use the gifts, the passion, the inspiration, the values, the qualities on the inside to make an impact. I share this with you not because I know it's true, but because it actually happened in my life. When I was 19 years of age, I had played basketball my entire life, as I shared with you earlier. And my aspiration was that I was going to go to the NBA, and I was going to have a career in the NBA, and then I was going to be a sports broadcaster. And that was the trajectory of my life. That's where I was headed. Unfortunately, life happens. And at the age of 19 years of age, I tried out for the basketball team, and I got cut because someone walked through the door that was 6'10", and they had a decision to make. 6'2" or 6'10", they had a lot of guards, they took 6'10". At that point, I was pretty devastated because you must understand, for 13 years of my life, that was my aspiration, that was my dream, that's what I wanted to do. But as I look back, I'm actually excited about that happening in my life because it not only worked to my good, but it taught me a big lesson. And the lesson is this, that rejection is direction to something better. And so my rejection turned into a direction because the very next semester, I had a communications class and I had to do a public speech. And like some people, I was very nervous and I had only spoken twice publicly at that point. And I get up there and I start talking and it's just flowing. It was flowing. And the person's like, yeah, keep going, keep going. And the professor is so excited and I'm speaking. Yeah, keep going. Good, good, good. And I get an A in the class. At that point, I realized something that was a game changer for me. I realized that I had a gift to talk. I had the gift of gab. My friends will tell you that when I was in college, we would go to major award shows and I would be able to talk our way in to some of the greatest award shows that you see on television. When they would have after parties in Hollywood, I would talk ourselves in to these incredible after parties. So I met Holly Berry. I can tell you where I met Holly Berry, and I always tell people she held my hand, and I didn't know what to do with myself, and she held it tightly, and I was like, I probably could have got with her. I should have tried to talk to her at that moment. I always share that story. I was 19 years of age. I tell people, I'll never forget when I met Justin Timberlake, and I met Britney Spears, and I tell people I met Alicia Keys, and I tell people she kind of gave me a look. I think I may have had a chance with her too, but I met Alicia Keys. I tell people I was in the front row sitting next to Mary J. Blige before she went up to perform on stage. I met Brandy. Going back, I met Lauryn Hill, T and Tamara. I met them. I actually knew them pretty well. I just got all these stories when I was younger. I saw Shaq a couple times. I had all these stories because I had a gift of gab. I was able to talk my way into stuff and get to certain places. I can tell you an experience one time. Well, I have time. I got a little time, so I'm doing more. But I can tell you a story one time I'll never forget. I went to the award show, and I was actually writing for a newspaper, and I was on the outside. I was like, man, I got to get in. I want to interview these celebrities. I got to get in. So I'm sitting out there, and I always knew that if you're gonna get into something where you don't have a ticket, you got to act like you're important. And so I have a suit on, a tie. I'm like, I'm supposed to be here, so I'm walking around like this, and I'm on the outside, right? And one of my friends was a security guard there. Connections. And my friend he's like, Josh, I can get you in, but once I get you in, you're on your own. I said, okay. So he lets me in the gate, and so I'm in the gate, and I'm walking, and I'm just walking with celebrity like I'm going in, and then someone stopped. He said, where's your badge? And I'm like, I forgot to get it over there. And they're like, where's your badge? I'm like, it's over there. And they start looking, and all of a sudden this lady comes in, she grabs me. And she says, come over here with me. And she says, here. She puts a badge on me. And says, do what you have to do. And I'm in the backstage connecting with people, getting interviews with people. Now, this is what's crazy, right? The next day I go to church and I see this woman at church, and I'd never seen her at church ever in my life. Like, what? And we look at each other in amazement, like, oh my gosh, are you kidding me? Well, that was awesome in itself, but I built the connection. And so every award show, she would always get me a pass, because we built a relationship and I had to get the gap. So I discovered I had to get to talk really early on. And so I took communications class because I could talk. And in my communications class, I had debate and argumentation. And I never lost. I was undefeated, 7-0. They were recruiting me. We want you to be on the debate team. You're really good. And I would put all this effort into it. I would have glasses, I was just really into this. And I had a passion to speak. So I discovered my gift. I discovered my passion. And then I was part of an organization, and they said, well, does anyone want to talk? Well, obviously, if I have a passion, I have a gift, I want to talk. And I give my first presentation about the age of 20 years of age, about 30, 45 people in the room. And as I start speaking, people start bawling in tears, 50% of people. And at that point, I had an epiphany. Someone said epiphany. The epiphany that I had is that one day I'm going to travel the country and I'm going to be a speaker. Now, again, I had no idea how this was going to happen. I had no mentors. I had no coaches. There was no major in motivational speaking. I just was like, I got a gift. I got a passion. I see the vision. I want to inspire people. I want to motivate people. This was a monumental moment for me because I had just identified the leader inside of me. No title, no position. But I had leadership. Someone say leadership. You say, what do you mean you're not leading no people? No, not yet. I'm not leading people yet because I first had to identify it. And then what I started doing, remember I told you have to start acting before it actually happens? Remember I told you have to step out and go after it? Like you can't wait, like start doing it now. I was on campus talking as much as I can. I put together a brochure, like y'all gotta have me come speak. I graduated and then I met a manager and she taught me the business of speaking, and I would call college at 20, hey, I gotta come speak. Well, you're only 24 years old. What do you have to tell us? I don't know, but I'm a talker. I wanna come. And I began to move in uncertainty. I began to move and not understanding how things are gonna work out. But I began to become a leader. You know why? Because I tapped into me and started impacting lives. Started impacting them in speeches. Started impacting them at different speeches. And the businesses started to grow. And I started to activate the leader in me and just help people. One audience, there was 2 people in the audience. That's okay. 2 people are important. Are you still here? Then I'd be an audience of 10,000, but I was using my gift and I was impacting people. And I come to find out that through this process, I began to emerge as a leader. And it wasn't because I was special, wasn't because I was rich, wasn't because I had status, wasn't because I was powerful. It was because I discovered the leader from within, and my work is what enabled me to be in a leadership position. And so now people are asking you, how do you become a speaker? What do I do to become a speaker? And now I'm in leadership positions. I'm in leadership roles, and I'm doing things as a leader to make an impact in the world, not because I'm special, not because I'm better than anybody else, but it's because I discovered the leader from within, and I have activated that. I have perfected that. I have maximized that as much as I can in order to make the world a better place. And I still ain't got no major title or position. I'm a speaker. I'm not a president of an organization. Well, you know what I mean? I'm not the president of a major nonprofit. I'm not an elected official. but I'm still a leader. Someone say leader. And so are you. You may not be an elected official. People may not know your name. As a matter of fact, people in this room may not know who you are. But if you have the attributes and you can begin to act on it, someone say, I'm a leader. You're a leader. And so as I was coming here to Georgia, I got to tell you, I'm getting pumped. I got to calm down. So I start getting excited because I start seeing your future. But I got to tell you, as I was coming here to Georgia, because I came from Miami, so I'm in Miami and Los Angeles. As I was coming here, I was super excited. You know why? Because I wanted to activate the leader in you today. I actually got a glimpse of my purpose in life. Actually, my purpose has become more clear. Imagine that. Well, Josh, you've been doing... No, but my, vision and purpose evolves. I realized one of my visions and purpose in life is to activate the leader in people. And I wanted you to understand what leadership is, because maybe someone came in here today and said, I don't see myself as a leader. Well, I hope that I paint a picture where now you see yourself as a leader. Maybe someone said, well, I don't know if I can lead right now because I'm not ready. Well, maybe I've inspired you to know that you're never going to be ready to lead. You become ready as you start leading. Oh, that's a good quote. You're never going to be ready to lead. You become better as you start leading. Someone tweet that because I want to keep. That's a good one for future reference. Maybe that's someone in the room. And here's an important one. Oh, I'm in Georgia. Okay. Don't even know the situation, and I'm not trying to be political, but I do want to be aware of where we are in the nation. And I'm not going to go there. I'm going to stay in your organization. When you elect a leader in your organization, your student organization, at least you know what things to look at before you put someone in a position. Because what I've discovered is organizations can have potential but fail to reach potential because the wrong people are in leadership. So my hope today, when you walk out of here today, oh, I'm so excited. You're going to start leading. Tell someone I'm going to start leading. That was kind of weak. I don't feel good about it. Tell someone I'm going to start leading. You're going to start leading. You're going to start impacting. You're going to start making it inspiring people. The greatest, if you're here today and you're not a leader yet, I want you to walk out of here and know you are a leader. When you walk out of here, I want you to know, man, I'm going to be a leader. I'm going to get involved. You say, well, Joshua, why do I need to be a leader? And why is this important? Someone say, why? I'm on my way out of here, but they say, well, why is it important? Because there's a study at Harvard University, and they discovered that 87% of people stated that the state of a community or a nation was dependent on. You want a better community? We need better leaders. You want a better nation? We need better leaders. You want a better world? We need better leaders. Now, I have no criticism toward no leader right now. I'm not here to criticize, but I think it's pretty quite clear if you watch news, no matter what your belief system is, it's quite clear we have some issues in our country. Would you agree? We have some issues in our world. Would you agree? Okay, awesome. Despite what your beliefs are, the reality is we have issues, and if we're going to solve the issues, we need leaders. Someone say leaders. We need you to be a leader. We need you to be a leader. We need leaders. So as you walk out of here today, understand we know what leadership is: influence, destination, impact. We know that I don't have to be famous to be a leader. We know that I don't have to have the title to be a leader. And we know that part of effective leadership is unlocking the leader from within to make an impact. Someone say impact. Well, thank you so much for the opportunity. Thank you for being an awesome audience. And give yourselves a round of applause for the impact that you're about to make.